Hello, gorgeous friend, and welcome to another episode of Thoughts, Action, Success. I'm really excited to talk to you as always. What we're talking about today is how, if we want to make real change in our lives, we need to break down our defenses. But tearing down those carefully constructed walls, this takes planning, dedication, and skill. Growth and achievement, it really requires change from us. And the two parts, they go hand in hand. Well, change is what everyone seeks as they embark on this journey of self-growth and improvement. So many of us, we seem to stumble when we really get to that point, when the actual change comes along. So why is it that when you're actively seeking to change your life, you find yourself defensive, aggressive, and then you start falling back into those old habits? So today we're going to look at, and I'm going to share with you how you can go about breaking down those defenses so that you can ensure that you can continue to grow throughout your life and achieve the goals you really want to set for yourself. So first up, we'll have a look at why do we even have these defenses? So defenses are our past habits, those patterns and excuses that you fall back on when your life's going through massive change or upheaval. Or you might have all the good intentions in the world to make your life better. Quite often your journey is sabotaged or sidelined by these defenses. You get really angry at yourself. Have you ever felt that? Or others around you? You find yourself then starting to fall back into unhealthy habits, or you close yourself off to help from others. Have you ever found yourself dealing with old fights, old addictions, or old self-esteem issues just as you thought you'd moved on? Have you ever felt frustrated that the same types of issues keep coming up in your life? Let me tell you this. It's because as we all try to move forward, our defenses continue to come up. The pattern is to believe you're not worthy of love. You'll keep seeing that manifest in your life. Just as you attempt to free your life of these issues, you can then find yourself dealing with them more than ever. I know this may seem frustrating, been there, done that, and then you start wondering whether you can even really make the change. But let me tell you this, the truth is that breaking down your defenses is one of the most powerful things you can do, as this will ensure that you really do grow as a person. It's ultimately the surest way for you to become the person you really want to be. Let me share this from, Dr. John Martini. You may know of him, you may have heard of him. He's a world-renowned speaker, author, and human behavior specialist. In my research, I've discovered that he says that he believes you tend to become defensive when you have too high expectations of yourself and others. Perfectionism. Does that resonate with you? So this defensive behavior then manifests when you've got these unrealistic expectations of yourself to be a specific way, which then will turn to make you feel angry, frustrated, defensive. You see, sometimes we have this fantasy about who we are meant to be. Only happy, never angry. Only up, never down. But he also says the truth is we are not one-sided individuals. So whenever we set up these unrealistic expectations for ourselves, we are automatically finding ourselves feeling anger and aggression, even despair and depression towards ourselves. Not only do we do that, but other people do the same thing. We live in a society where there are unrealistic expectations. We expect people to be one way, and when they're not, we're only angry at them, but we're also angry at ourselves. So let me share this with you. When these feelings come up, you need to make sure you don't lose track of what you're truly aiming for. Remember that these defenses are part of your evolution to being a more authentic person. They're not a step backwards. They are part of the path, part of the journey. So now I'm just going to look at another thing I've learned from Dr. Martini, and that's about your 7 primary fears. So there are 7 primary fears That could be the reason why your commitment to personal growth is being sabotaged by this defensive behavior. He says, while most of us are not afraid of success in achieving our dreams, a fear of one of the 7 primary fears may be the real reason we're not able to thrive. Perhaps you have a fear that your family won't accept your change in direction. Does this resonate with you? Perhaps you have a fear of loss of money, or perhaps you fear the consequences of getting a lot of money. Perhaps maybe you fear you don't have the energy or health to be who you really want to be. Often these underlying fears then manifest in defensive behaviors. So what we need to do is address these fears, which then results in the defenses. They just go away, they disappear. As Dr. DeMartini says, many people fear the repercussions of living their dreams or achieving their greatness. And that fear can usually be pinpointed to one of these 7 primary fears. How does that sound? Can you relate to that? If you find the same issues keep coming up for you in your pursuit of your personal development, I recommend that you try sitting down with this list of 7 primary fears and asking yourself whether one of these is at the core of your defensive behavior. Sit down and just take some time. Write down what comes to you when you start thinking about it. Dig deep. Go to that next level. So the best way to unblock these defenses and truly begin to live your dreams is to make sure that you're really living authentically. So this means that you need to take the time to truly figure out what are your values and priorities and dreams in life. Knowing what your true values and core priorities are is how you grow your power. This is where journaling can be so beneficial. Getting those thoughts down, getting those clarity from writing them down, whatever comes to mind. That could be that aha moment that you need. So anytime someone's not living to their higher values or they're not able to live authentically, they're going to get defensive because it's what they're meant to be doing, says Dr. DeMartini. So anyone sometimes challenges your values or your priorities, you're going to get this defensive, you back up. So by living truly authentically, you give yourself permission to be great, to live your dream life, to be the person you really want to be. So this is how you become less defensive, because you see everyone and everything on your way, not in your way. They are part of the journey, not a roadblock. There are a number of ways to work out what your core values and priorities are in life. Maybe talking with a life coach, working on and incorporating yoga or meditation into your daily routine, reading and studying about personal development, or following a step-by-step plan like the one that I share with my coaching clients. It can really help you discover what is most important to you. You need to know yourself and find out what your highest values are. I've used the list that Dr. DeMartini has on his website, drdemartini.com, to determine my highest priorities. This is where I started. You can go to his website and try that too. You can use that to work out your values and your goals. Then you can delegate the things that have low priority and get on with being that inspired person that you really are. So this is how you wake up your greatness and live without fear. You need to learn, and learn. So Renee Main, who I follow, she was a very defensive person. She's now a successful author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Her story is that she was once a victim of years of physical and mental abuse. In fact, this type of behavior was so common to her that she came to believe that abuse was normal and expected part of life. Eventually, her life that supported that belief, but she was very defensive about her behavior. How does that resonate with you? She never believed in love because she was from a broken home. She says, and then my mum got into a new relationship where he abused both of us. So then, as part of the journey, she left home. And then she got into an abusive relationship. This was all she knew until one day it got to the point where her partner nearly killed her. And this was the point where she finally realized that things must change. As most of us who have tried to change a negative situation in our lives will know, it's not easy. Making these significant changes, it's a journey and it is an ongoing process. We don't have it all figured out, but we need to keep working on it and change will come. Although we know deep down that change must occur, as Maine did when her boyfriend strangled her at the age of 21, taking the realization and turning it into reality is the real challenge. And breaking down those defenses and past patterns, that is the key to the whole thing. That is the little gem, the little snippet, the focus point. Let me tell you again, breaking down those defenses and past patterns is the key. As she says, the first thing I did the night of the attack was I sat down and wrote the words. I have to break the cycle and stop the war because I've had enough. What are your words? What are you going to write? What affirmation, what goal are you going to write that's going to help you break down those defenses? For Maine, this was the start of unblocking her defenses. Once she'd acknowledged her pattern, she knew I just needed me time. She needed to find out who she really wanted to be and how to achieve it. So she started, one step in front of the other. She started studying and reading. For her, it was about reading a book a week. An echo of Dr. Demartini's advice to sit down and work out your core values and priorities, Maine discovered that by taking the time to really work out who she was and who she aspired to be, she saw her defenses begin to crumble. She truly did begin to break the cycle. For me, she says, I didn't see a counsellor or anyone. It was just me and my books, when she recalls in her story. The first book, which we've all read, if you haven't, totally recommend it, was Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. That was the start, of the journey for her. She started meditating and truly working on herself. She learned that she was worthy of a better life and she actually deserved love. And then she started to build up the confidence to move forward in her life. And as a result, the defenses fell away. So let me share this with you. If your negative patterns and defenses keep rearing their ugly heads, despite all your best intentions, take the time to study and learn who you really want to be and what you truly value. Embrace all the books, mentors, and help you can find. And make the time to learn about yourself. As Renee Maine found, this is the truest way for you to break down those barriers and create a grateful and powerful life. Maine says that often everything we need to know is already inside us. We just need to stop our minds from making so much noise long enough to listen. Don't fall down when you stumble and let those old defenses rear their ugly head again. But stop, be present in every moment, and then you can really move forward. The next step is to accept all parts of yourself. Nothing brings more joy, but it's also nothing more challenging than learning to love yourself. Without unconditional love of yourself, then your defenses will continue to block your journey to true personal enlightenment and freedom. But, as I can attest to, the path to true self-love is often a confronting one. as it really involves learning to love all sides of your personality, both the good and the bad. We must own every part of ourselves to truly live authentically, is what I've learned from Dr. Demartini. Just as he believes most of us have too high or unrealistic expectations of ourselves and others around us, he also argues that most of us do not accept that we're made of light and shade, or yin and yang. I want you to remember this one thing. Our mindset is an ongoing process that we all have to work on every day, me included. Although I teach this, it doesn't mean that I've got it all figured out. I'm very much a work in progress. If you're new to my work, then make sure that you come over to get on my newsletter list. You can sign up at kirstyjohnston.com because I send out a weekly mindset lesson. And I'd love you to join me with that. If I can help you and share my knowledge with you, then my purpose is being fulfilled. I'm not going to tell you that I'm perfect. I just want to share the stuff that I've learned on my journey, the good and the bad, so that you can take it on board and have the opportunity to make the change that you want in your life. So thank you, my friend, for joining me on this episode of Thoughts, Action, Success, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.